Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, Facebook and Instagram. I am Shayla Jackson, and I am an attorney, Georgetown law grad. I am a legal consultant for women CEOs and small business owners. I'm also the author of my new book, Build a Legit Business, so that you can avoid the costly legal mistakes that entrepreneurs make starting and running a business while you build and protect your brand the legit way. Legal, that is. Sorry, little tired today, but I wanted to come on and talk about a serious conversation that one that we really can't ignore right now in the midst of everything going on in the world. Honestly, we don't know when our time is going to come. And as business owners, one of the things that is so important is, can your business live on after you are no longer here? And particularly, can your family continue to profit from your business? So while talking about, you no longer being here is not a pleasant topic, it is one that is a reality that one day you will not be here. But let's talk about it in the sense of your business. Can your business live on and continue to provide for your family and create a legacy of generational wealth? And so, in terms of what that answer is, it really depends. It depends on a number of factors. One of them being, did you even incorporate your business? Are you a sole proprietor or are you an LLC? And then, if you did incorporate, what state did you incorporate in? The next factor is, what is your business structure? Are you a LLC? Are you a sole proprietor? Are you a S corporation, a C corporation? Are you a partnership? That matters. The next factor on whether or not what happens to your business after you're no longer here, your trademarks, and as well as, can your family continue profiting off of the hard work you did, is, if you're an LLC, do you have a operating agreement? Do you have an operating agreement in place? The next factor that answers this question is, are you the only one in your business? Are you a sole CEO in your LLC, or do you have partners? Okay, so those factors again, I'm looking at my notes. Those factors again over whether or not, hey Miss Annie, over whether or not, hey, over whether or not over whether or not your family can continue benefiting from your business are: one, did you incorporate? What state did you incorporate in? What is your business structure? Are you an LLC? Are you a sole proprietor, an S corporation, C corporation, or a partnership? The next factor is if you are an LLC, do you have an operating agreement in place? And then, are you a sole CEO in your business, or do you have partners? So, I'm going to focus on LLCs, particularly sole CEOs today, because if you are a sole CEO in your business, it means that you are one member. So LLCs have members, which means it is just you. So if something happens to you, what's going to happen to your business? Well, if you don't have an operating agreement in place, guess what you just did? You gave away your power to decide whether or not to give your business, the legacy that you've been building, the wealth you've been building in your business, to your family, to your heirs, to your children, or to whoever you decide you want to give your business to. And so, if you do not have an operating agreement in place, what's going to happen is, the state that you incorporate in is going to be the state that decides what happens to your business. Let me say that again, right? Because as business owners, we're not in it for the hustle and bustle. We're in it to build generational wealth, to pass legacy on to our children and their children's children. And so, with that being said, if you don't have an operating agreement in place, guess what you just did? You just put your wealth in the hands of the state you incorporated in, and they get to decide what to do with your baby. They get to decide to do what to do with your business. And that means that your children or your family, your heirs, may not benefit from having that wealth passed on the way you might have intended, dreamed, or envisioned it. Okay? So, one of the things that you have to understand in business is that as in an LLC, you have two interests. You have a management interest and a financial interest. And that's really important because in your operating agreement, you can decide to give your management interest to your children. You can decide, you can decide to give your financial interest. However you decide to pass it on, you can do that in your operating agreement. That's the power of being able to write it down now. But if you don't have an operating agreement, then what's going to happen is the state's laws are going to govern. And some states have it that when you pass away, they automatically dissolve your business. You don't have an operating agreement and you're living in a state where it's automatic dissolution, that means no more business. So you can't even, your family can't even continue operating that business. And so that becomes a problem if you were intentional and strategic about building a business that can work when you're not working, when you're sleeping, when you're out, a business that can continue generating revenue when you're not physically and actively working in it. So if you have digital products, if you have online coaching or books, all of these different ways in which your business can continue operating, you have a team working for you. What happens is that's no more if you live in that state. However, if you had an operating agreement, your operating agreement would dictate. You asked a really good question, and I'm about to get to that. The question is, can you put it in your will? So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. When it's a business, your business is a person on by itself, right? So when you put it in an operating agreement, it is a contract. So when it comes to not just your business, but who owns your trademarks, because your trademarks and your intellectual property is another way to build wealth, where you can license that trademark out. You can sell that trademark, right? The trademark that basically is the forefront of that brand you built that has the wealth to it, right? So Nike, a company, but also a brand. Nike's name holds some weight. And so if the business owns the trademark, then the operating agreement, if there is none in place, what happens to that trademark? Well, if you're in a state where there's automatic dissolution, guess what? That trademark may also be going either to the estate, or it may not, you may have to sell it off. So let me get back to how states handle that, right? So there are some states who do automatic dissolution, and then there are other states who allow for the family to elect to continue the business. So there are some states who give an opportunity for families who want to continue the business to do so. And then there are other states who will, if there is a will in place, will assign the representative in charge of the estate to handle the affairs of the business, either to wind it down or to sell off the assets to take care of the matters of the estate. So when it comes to, if it's not in your operating agreement, it could possibly go in your will. But here's the thing, it matters who owns the trademark. Does the business own the trademark, or do you as an individual own the trademark? Because if the business owns the trademark belongs to the business. The business is a separate person in the eyes of the law. The trademark is an asset of the business. It is not necessarily your asset, right? The business is your asset, and the business asset is your trademark. But if you don't have an operating agreement, you can put it in your will what you would like to do. But here's the dangerous part about that, is that once you get into wills, trusts, and estates, the courts can still decide how to interpret your will. So that's why it's so important that as you are building your business, building generational wealth, that you have an operating agreement in place if you have an LLC, and make sure that you have those provisions in there. What happens if something happens to you? Who's going to take over your business? Where do you want your financial interest to go to? Who, like, what child is the most responsible, right? You have to have that in place, because entrepreneurs, there are some entrepreneurs who are no longer with us right now. And the question is, if they have built $1 million brand, they were generating millions of dollars a year, millions of dollars a year, right? Now that person is gone. The person who was creating the content, the person who's bringing the expertise, that person is gone. But if the proper things were put in place during the startup process, the foundation was solid, right? You have an operating agreement, you structure it the correct way. You understand the laws of the state in which you're incorporating in, including considering at the beginning what's going to happen at the end of your business. What do you want it to do? Do you want to sell your business? Do you want to pass it on and keep it in the family? Because there are ways that you can have a family owned business and get around some of the estate gift taxes, but we're not going to get into that today. Right? There's some creative things that you can do within the law. But thinking about that at the beginning is so important. So I wanted to come on and share that with you, that if you do not have, you have an LLC and you do not have an operating agreement in place, get that in place. But there are also some other things that you might not even know about in the startup process, or even how you start up your own business, that could be leaving you exposed, but also leaving your family exposed, and you not being able to pass on that wealth that you are working so hard to build within your business, especially if you have trademarks. That is wealth and property that can be leveraged. So I want to share with you a way that you can get access to understand how do you build a strong legal foundation, whether you are starting out, whether you are about to start, launch, or already in business, but want to make sure you have the legal pieces in place. And that is my Startup 101 Foundations Bootcamp. Classes start Monday, August 31st. At 8:30 p.m. There are 6 classes to it. The class is only $69. And let me tell you, for $69, there's so much jam packed in there. And I'm really trying not to do it, but I really want to help women CEOs, help small business owners understand all of the different pieces and the nuts and bolts into making sure you build a solid foundation. Because as you are building your $1 million business and brand, because let me tell you, even if you don't see the $1 million right now, it's in the seed of your creative ideas, it's in the seed of those visions. It is there. You just have to build it up, sow into it, and continue growing and nurturing it. But we want to make sure that the foundation of your business is solid, so that as your business grows and scales and the money is coming in, you don't have to worry about, did you make a legal mistake? Or you don't have to worry about, is there something that's not in place that's going to make it all unravel? So the startup bootcamp is going to go over the foundations. How do you choose a name to make sure you're not infringing on someone else's trademark? How do you structure your business? What are the considerations for each? What happens if you have an LLC, but your income has gone to the next tax bracket? Are there some things that you can do to make sure that you lower your taxable income so that you pay less taxes, but legally keep more of the profits in your business? In class number 3, we're going to go over what are the license, permits, and insurance that you need. But with the insurance piece, we're going to cover a very important part, which is what terms do you want to avoid in the insurance clauses? Because right now there are business owners who are fighting their insurance companies to get paid because of the COVID-19 shutdowns. And some of the courts have pretty much said, sorry, you lost millions of dollars. insurance doesn't have to pay out. So we want to make sure that you are avoiding that issue at the beginning. The next class, we're going to delve into how do you actually fill out your paper, but fill out your corporation papers and get your EIN number. The next class after that, we are going to delve further into excuse me, guys. We're going to delve further into your taxes and talks about business banking, legal do's and don'ts when it comes to business banking, because there are some things that if you make one of these mistakes, it doesn't matter if you have legal protection in your business, because you have essentially just gotten rid of that altogether. And so we want to make sure that you're not making these mistakes, but also that you understand taxes, because let me tell you, people are getting wealthy, wealthy because they understand, or they have access to someone who understands the tax law and the tax loopholes. So we're going to talk about that, as well as some tax strategies and some income shifting strategies that maybe you haven't heard of, that are completely legal to do in your business, and that allow for you to do what the wealthy is doing, which is write off some things and keep a whole lot more money. And last but certainly not least in the class is talking about your policies, creating your policies in your business and identifying what contracts you need and where to get them from. Because your policies are so important. Because with COVID-19, and especially if you're shipping things and something gets lost in the mail, who's on the hook for that? So we're going to create your policies and make sure they are ironclad to protect you, your business, and your profits. And the best part about that is this class is this boot camp is interactive. You're not going to sit there. You're not going to just sit there and listen. We're going to do the work. You're going to walk through it with me, because I want to make sure that if I am not there with you, you can still continue to do the skills that you'll learn in this boot camp. And so when you invest in the boot camp, you're also going to get access at no additional cost to my intellectual property 101, how to protect your creative genius, that I'll be doing in September. So you'll get access to that. And that's all about your intellectual property. What is it? How do you protect it? How do you avoid infringing on someone else's property? And then how do you stop people from stealing yours? Right? You got this great business idea, put out this product. How do you stop people from copying your product? So we're going to talk about that in the class. And so when you get the boot camp, you also get access to the intellectual property course with no additional cost. So if you want to learn more about that, you want to enroll in the class. Class starts Monday, August 31st at 8:30 p.m. They are 1 hour long classes. There is probably only one class that will be 90 minutes because that's the meat of everything. But other than that, I want to honor your time. I want to honor you in the class because, as business owners, there's a lot going on. But also, there will be Q&A sessions. So 30 minutes before every class, there will be a Q&A session where you can come in and ask your legal questions and get them answered before we start class. So this is to make sure that, you did the homework, you tried to do maybe a due diligence search, that's what I call it, yourself, and maybe you had some trouble. The Q&A session is where we make sure that you actually understand what it is that you're doing so that you have the skill set and walk away. And you get lifetime access to the boot camp. Woo! So even if you have a question, you can go back to the recording. So that's all I have. I hope that, guys, that you share this broadcast, that you took away some nuggets from this. Even if you're watching the replay, you can put your questions in there, and I'll go back and answer them. But if you're interested in the Startup 101 Foundations Bootcamp to make sure you have a solid foundation in place for your business, you can go to IamShaylaJackson.com. If you're on Facebook, the link is already in the title of the video, and I'll be updating it so you can go directly to the page. And what you're going to do is go to IamShaylaJackson.com, and you're going to click on Masterclasses. click on masterclasses, and you are going to see the information for the class. If you are on Instagram live, give me a few minutes, but after the live, you'll be able to click on the link in my bio and go directly straight to the page to enroll. So I hope this was beneficial. I hope that it was helpful information to help you understand the importance of having a operating agreement in place if you have an LLC, but also as a CEO, to be thinking ahead about how do you pass on the wealth? How do you pass on your business? How do you protect your family even when you're no longer here or you're no longer to work? And of course, that doesn't just go for your business, but as someone said on, mentioned on Instagram, wills. Do you have a will? And if you are at a place where you can do it, do you have a trust? So we're not going to get into that today. That's not why I'm here. But I just wanted to give you some information that can equip you, help you, and also share with you how you can continue to learn more with a startup one-on-one boot camp to deal with your foundation of your business. So again, if you want to know more information, you can go to iamshaylajackson.com, click on masterclasses, and it will take you there. Also, you can look at the link in the Facebook Live, and you can look at the link in my bio on Instagram. So thank you so much for joining me. If you don't have any more questions, are there any questions? Because if they're not, then we're going to log off here and allow for you guys to get back to your day. I didn't want to take up too much of the time here. Just do a quick live as busy entrepreneurs, so you guys can get back to focusing on your business and making money. Money. Are there any questions on Facebook? Any questions on Instagram? All right. If not, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I hope that you join me in the boot camp. Miss Annie, I will be seeing you in a little while for your legal consultation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you had any takeaways, feel free to drop it in the comments. If you're watching a replay, you can feel free to ask your questions in the comments, and I will get back to them as soon as I can. So I am Shayla Jackson again. I'm an attorney, Georgetown Law grad. I am a legal consultant for women CEOs and small business owners, helping them to protect their brand, build a legacy, and secure your wealth. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for those who will be joining the replay, and you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. All right. Have a good one, Facebook. Have a good one, Instagram.